Spontaneous Human Combustion. A rare, if even real, occurrence by which a living human body suddenly bursts into flame with no apparent external source of ignition. There have only been about a dozen cases that seem to fit the description of spontaneous human combustion, and today we'll be looking at just one, the curious case of Dr. J Irving Bentley. But to do that, we need to take a trip north to my hometown of Coudersport, Pennsylvania. This is where I grew up. I remember hearing stories of Dr. Bentley's inexplicable death, but never gave it much thought. After all, it certainly wasn't the weirdest thing to happen in that town. It wasn't until I began doing some research for this video that I learned there might be more to the story. And to fill in the missing pieces, I knew there was only one place to go.
I'm David Castano, and I am the president of the Potter County Historical Society and also Potter County's historian. And I'm going to speak to you about the life and the demise of J Irving Bentley. As a medical doctor in a rural area, you were pretty much thinking on your feet the whole time. Probably one of the most admirable stories about Dr. Bentley was during the 1900 diphtheria epidemic, which swept through Potter County, affecting young children from school age down to infancy. Dr. Bentley, with a horse and buggy, traveled throughout his area of medical practice, which covered an extensive area, most of the eastern part of Potter County, but he stayed in the saddle, so to speak, traveling from farmhouse to isolated farmhouse, doing what he could to treat these children that were afflicted with diphtheria, and was awake for 72 hours. I knew Dr. Bentley when I was a young boy. I lived just a few blocks away from him. One of the things I remember about him is he was a constant smoker, usually a pipe or a cigar. And one of the things that amazed us little kids is that he could strike a match. At that time they were wooden matches called barn burners on the side of his wool pants and light them, and then light whatever he was smoking at the time.
By all accounts, Doc Bentley was a super cool guy, an outstanding citizen who devoted his entire life to helping the people of his community. Here's the opening paragraph of his obituary. The charred body of Dr. J Irving Bentley, 92, was discovered in a smoldering fire Monday morning in the bathroom of his Main Street home in Coudersport. His tragic end was a contradiction of his life's greatest satisfaction, to have helped more than 2,000 babies into the world, and, when the time came, to have helped an old person out of it as painlessly as possible. Before we move on, I think it's important for you to understand what the mystery actually is here. So, it's only appropriate that we talk to the man who found Dr. Bentley's charred remains on that solemn morning of December 5th, 1966.
Hello. Don and Betty. Hello.
Hi, is this Don?
Yes.
Hi, my name's Reese Hayes.
Where are you now?
Right now I'm at the Shop and Save in town.
Okay, I was getting ready to come down there in a minute anyway.
Okay, alright, should I just meet you here then?
Okay.
My name is Don Gosnell, and I was a meter reader. And in the morning I went to the house to read meters, and went through the door and yelled my normal greeting as a gas man. And the doctor wasn't there where I could see him, and the house was full of a light blue smoke and a sickening sweet odor. And when I got to the foot of the steps, there was a pile of ashes on the floor that had never been there before. And I looked up to see where they'd come from, and there was a hole burnt through the floor and little red embers all around it yet. So I went running up the stairs, and when I went in the bathroom, all there was from the foot to the knee of one leg laying there next to the hole. And it was discolored and everything. I didn't know at first if it was a mannequin or a human, really.
Wow.
Until I got down close. Then I got the picture.
By that time, he had pulmonary problems, and so he was on oxygen. But it didn't curb his smoking habits. He was still a constant smoker. His television was directly in front of his easy chair, and he had his oxygen, and in his last few years of life, he didn't even bother to get fully dressed. He was usually in his pajamas and a warm wool bathrobe. He apparently had fallen asleep and had a pipe or a cigar that was still lit in an ashtray on his easy chair. It tipped over probably, or got knocked off, and ended up on his bathroom. But those large barn burner matches that I talked to you about were also in that pocket too, probably a dozen of them at least. And you know, when you ignite several matches, the type of flaring up that you get. And so he made every attempt to get up with his walker, make it as far as he could to the nearest source of water, which was his bathroom. When he entered the bathroom, he was probably at that time, his actual clothing itself was on fire, and of course it was smoking also. He collapsed there in the bathroom. The bathroom, of course, had a tub, a porcelain tub, toilet, sink, and a tile on the walls. The only part that was actually combustible probably would have been the flooring itself, which was linoleum. Keep in mind that he had been asleep probably for some time with the oxygen mask on, so his body was probably overly oxygenated and has effectively made his entire system fuel for the fire. But again, as far as having a thorough medical examination, a pathological examination of the remains, that did not occur. So
Wasn't much to look into.
It wasn't just simply about 90% of the Dr. Bentley's body was consumed in the fire to ashes, and so there wasn't really much evidence to go on.
I find it sad that Dr. Bentley's legacy is centered around his death rather than the amazing life he led. He devoted his life to helping people in a time when help was hard to come by. But, on the other hand, had he not perished in such a horrific fashion, he very well could have been forgotten by time, as so many others were before him. But I hope this has been an informative look at the very interesting life and death of Dr. J Irving Bentley. Do I think he spontaneously combusted? No. Do I think spontaneous combustion is a real thing? Probably not, but it sounds really cool and is absolutely terrifying to think about.
The story was spontaneous human combustion, which I can't say that. All I can tell is what I found.
But the idea and the theories behind spontaneous combustion and have anything to do with the dark forces certainly did not fall in line with the life that Dr. Bentley led and the service that he gave through his medical skills.
Thank you so much for watching. This has been Dashing Agents the Vlog. My name is Reese. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe. Big thank you to my patrons listed here. You guys are my favorite people in the world. If you want to be a patron, consider going to patreon.com/dashingagent and pitching in a few bucks a month. Don't play with fire. I'm gonna blow these candles out because I'm getting nervous. Okay, I'll see y'all next week, maybe. Love you. Bye.